shiitake mushrooms is going on with Mercari?
Uh, do we miss anything on vacation? I think it feels like we did.
I think
It feels like we missed a lot of drama with Mercari.
yes. So this week we're going to be telling you what is going on with Mercari and why we don't think the seller fees really went
Yeah,
away.
so we're gonna go over their update that they gave to their terms of service and their platform as a whole.
And what it means for you as a seller and as a buyer on their platform.
Yeah, and they are actively misleading people, I feel.
Yeah, so make sure you stay for the end. If you like this type of content and you want more videos like this, make sure that you like this video, comment on this video, share this video if you can. Helps us here, helps us keep going, and we really, really appreciate it. So let's just get into what's going on. So starting out with the ACH fee. So the
Yes.
ACH fee is a $2 fee that will happen now anytime you try to remove your money from Macari.
Yes. So basically it's a patently bald-faced attempt to just coerce you into keeping your money on the Macari system rather than transferring it to your bank.
Yes. Now, I do believe they used to have a fee if it was under a certain amount. I don't remember the number. Please, if you know, let me know in the comments. But this at this point, it's going to be if you get $5 out or if you get $500 out, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You will incur a $2 fee. Now, a lot of people are really happy about this because a $2 fee on if you're making, I don't know, $1,000 per month sounds like nothing. Like that's so minimal. But this seems like a really good time to do a reminder that you always like to give. So maybe we should insert that here.
So Macari, Poshmark, eBay are not a place to leave your money. Once you made the sales, I would encourage you to transfer it into a bank account that you control rather than leaving it on an online platform because there is no guarantee that that money is going to be there if things happen.
Yeah, I think it's really important to remember that Macari, Poshmark, all of those platforms are not banks. And that means that your money is not secure. If tomorrow Macari shut down and they had no money, they're not obligated to pay you out. Additionally, if for some reason your account got terminated or I don't know, you got locked out and they couldn't prove your identity, again, they're not obligated to pay you out. Now, of course, it's the right thing to do, and most businesses probably would do their best efforts. But they're not legally obligated to do that. So it is really important to remember, don't just leave your money on these platforms. I know that there's going to be a lot of people recommending that you try and let your money build up so that that $2 fee really is just, a drop in the bucket, but you're going to be doing that at your own risk. So we want to make sure that that is right out in front, that we don't mislead you. It does make sense financially if you want to pay less of a fee to build things up, but it is quite a financial risk. So I don't know, weigh that out.
I mean, to be fair, the break even point for essentially the 10% fee on Macari is $20. So if it's over $20, it's less than what you were paying previously to take your money. So I wouldn't care as much about $20 as I would 200 or even 2000. I it's a graduating scale. So the higher it goes, the more upset I will be if I lose that money.
Right. But this leads into the next thing that happens here. So people are saying, okay, the seller fees are gone. So the only thing I have to pay for is that $2 fee. So if you are somebody that's perfectly comfortable letting things build up, then it does seem like that 10% selling fee has disappeared. But has it? So they sent out this cute little email. There's been graphics everywhere that basically say no more selling fees. If you sell an item for $20, you are going to receive $20. But as you know, Macari has to make money. They're a business. They can't just, give things away on their platform and not make anything. That would be crazy. So where has that fee gone?
It's gone to the buyer. It's gone straight to the person that is making the decision to spend money.
Yes. Now, we have some examples for you to kind of show you what this is going to look like for a buyer. So, we found this example on Facebook, and this gives you a really good example of what it looks like as a buyer when you're trying to buy on Macari today.
So this was in the example an $85 item, and the sold price is $85, and that's what the seller receives. The buyer pays a service fee, they pay the shipping, they pay taxes, and then they pay. This apparently was off of a credit card or debit card, not a balance on Macari, so they pay an additional payment processing fee. So with all of those fees, that $85 item goes up to $110.97. Now that is a significant jump. So that is well over the 10% fee. To the buyer, they're paying everything all up on their own. And it's It's a too much.
It's a lot.
It's a
It's a
lot.
lot. I mean, so I'm gonna say as a seller that has not had the best experience on Mercari, and we will link at the end our feelings on Mercari outside of these new changes because full disclosure, we're not Mercari fans. But part of the reason that we're not Mercari fans is we don't make all that much on Mercari. Now, we did break up with Mercari a long time ago, so giving our numbers probably wouldn't really give you an accurate picture of how much we sell on Mercari. But in general, we just don't sell that much there because the
Yeah.
buyer pool is not that big. So, in my opinion, adding more fees to the buyer when the buyer pool is already pretty small is risky. I'm very worried about what this is going to do to a buyer when they see this screen. But again, this is going to take time to see how it affects them. I'm just very worried.
There is a serious risk for being very alarmed by this. There is also an opportunity that I wanted to mention because you are able to calculate your your margins more effectively as a seller. You are allowed to say, "This is my number that I need to make on this item," and you could even list it at that price or a little bit above. It allows you to set a basement price and just move it, set it, forget it, which I do think is great. You just have to be mindful that you're still having to factor in those margins for the buyer because they're going to see a higher price on their end.
Yeah. So I do want to take a second to break down these fees that the buyer is paying because I think there's a little bit of misunderstanding in the community of where the fees are and if they go away if you do certain things. So let's just look at this right now. So you have the service fee, the delivery fee, and the payment processing fee. And there's been some discussion on social media that if you use your balance on Macari, that the fees disappear, minus delivery, of course. So the rumor or thought is that if you had $100 in your account and you decide to go and buy an item, you could essentially buy that item for the purchase price of like, I don't know, $90 and then $7.99 shipping and you'd be done. You'd be out because you used your balance. But that is not true. And we've tested this, so we know this. So I just want to make sure there's no question we have tested this theory
So we looked up in this case we just picked a $6 item
because
and
I don't have a lot of balance in Macari. Okay, don't judge me.
so we wanted to make sure that we had enough to cover everything with the balance. So we picked a very low ticket item. Using a debit card or credit card rather than your cash balance, it came out to $12. So that's more than double the list price of
$12
$6.
and 12 cents. Let's not negate the
Yeah,
12 cents.
$12.12, which is just prohibitive. It's going to if it was
This
a
doubled the amount.
yeah, if it's a $10 item and it goes up to 15, $20, like, it's just going to scale.
Right. And this comes with it says subtotal, delivery, service fee, payment processing fee. Now we've worked out what the fees come out to. The payment processing fee, actually, Macari tells you, is 2.9% plus 50 cents per item, which makes sense here. One thing to distinguish is it's not on the purchase price of the item, it is on the subtotal, the delivery, and the service fee. They take 2.9% plus 50 cents of that to get the 83-cent payment processing fee. But then there's a service fee. So you worked out what that was.
So it looks to be their Macari's replacement for the 10% fee that you paid previously. So it in this case, it's it's right around that 10% mark. They just moved it to the buyer.
That's what it appears to be. Now, if somebody knows differently and they know what the service fee actually is, we just did the math on this, let us know. But we wanted to test out, do the fees go away, minus of course shipping, if I used my balance? So I went ahead and looked at the same item and I said, I'm going to use my whole balance for this. Now, on here, you actually get a choice that says use none or custom amount of your balance. I guess you can decide, like, I only want to use $5, but we used the whole thing. And I went and looked at it, and this dropped my price to $11.29. So you might be thinking, well, why isn't it just the $6 plus the $4.99 shipping fee? Like, what's going on here? It's because they didn't remove the service fee. So the service fee is going to remain on the item regardless of whether or not you use your ACH balance. And I think that is really important. This is a really cheap item, so it doesn't come out to a lot of money. But on those higher price items, it's actually the higher fee.
So what Macari has done, and how nice of them, on everything with the exception of the dirt cheap items, the $5, $6 items, they are going to credit you the smallest of the fees. So the payment processing fee, they will credit you. So the point or the 2.9% and 50 cents of the item, they are going to credit and
As long as you use your Mercari
as long
balance.
as you use the Macari balance. And as the item gets more expensive, that is going to be less and less of a price. It is an amount, but it's going to be the smallest, the larger the dollar amount.
Right. So basically, it that 10% fee that you were paying when you were selling an item is now going to be moved on to if you buy an item. So if you're somebody that's thinking, you know what, I'm just going to keep all my money in Macari and source that way, or just do my shopping that way, so I don't have to incur that $2 fee. Unfortunately, you are going to incur that 10% fee on your purchase of items. That's what they're doing in order to recoup funds from the 0% selling fees. And I don't know, how do you feel about this? Do you think this is a good move on Macari's part?
I think it's honestly neutral. They're not doing anything except moving funds around, and then they're moving the fee from one person to another. They're not actually getting rid of anything. If anything, they're being rather manipulative about trying to get you to do what they want you to do, which is leave your money there and use it to shop.
Yeah, I don't love the move. I wish there was a lot more transparency in the way that they were doing this. I wish that they were, kind of saying like, "Hey, we're trying to attract sellers, so what we're going to do is we're going to give 0 seller fees, but we still have to recoup that money, so we're going to put it on the buyer." I wish there was some transparency here. I can see the value in it, especially if you're a high volume seller, but you're not someone that really needs to worry about turning around and sourcing, and you're going to make that money back so quickly that the $2 ACH fee isn't going to affect you. For high volume sellers, I totally see the value of this. But for people like me who sell 1 or 2 items on Mercari, if I'm lucky per month, I don't know, it doesn't make me feel great.
I mean, to be fair, the break point is $20. So if you make more than $20, you are saving a little bit on the 10% fee.
It's mostly a wash. I think we can be honest. It's mostly a wash.
Yeah. So
So there's that. Now, there's one more thing that sellers in the community are really, really upset about. And I myself had to kind of take a step back and think about this from a more objective angle because returns make me angry. I'm just going to say this. I am a clothing seller and we get returns for fit, for didn't like the color, for I felt like renting it and I'm just going to lie to you about it. We've gotten
yeah,
returns for all the
we've had a
things.
lot of the rental items on eBay, especially where they will take a designer item, use it for a day, and then send it back.
Yes. So when I hear the words return for any reason, I react as the community did.
It's a visceral. I hate this now. I hate this so much. Why are you doing this? And in my view, it's not a thing. We are making a mountain of a molehill. It's not an issue.
Yeah, so I think we need to look at this objectively and break it down a little bit. So, Macari has stated that you can return the item for any reason, provided that you return it in the condition that it came in, and you have 72 hours to do so. So, first of all, they've already beat eBay here because eBay gives the buyer 30 days. And I gotta tell you, 30 days is way too long. 30 days means I can go party in that dress for 2 weeks before I even decide if I'm gonna send it back to you. And I just don't enjoy that. We've had items come back with perfume. We've had items come back that were clearly
That's
worn, and
it's
it stinks.
it's 720 hours on eBay versus 72.
Right.
So
So that's already a win. Another win on Macari's front here is Macari is going to cover the shipping. Now, shadily, they're not necessarily going to return the fees. It
of,
says in their little
of
graphic.
course they're not.
It says
Why would they
may
return a fee?
not be refunded, which means will not. Let's
May
just
not is not may not. It is will not. They are going to keep that processing fee.
yes. So they are keeping those fees. But for the seller standpoint, we don't have to worry about return shipping. Now, that's not always the case on eBay. There are things you can do, and I'm not going to get into all of the ins and outs of eBay. But in some cases, you do have to pay the return shipping on eBay for items, and that stinks as well. But in this case, no matter what the reason, Macari is covering it. So I enjoy that. But I am going to be honest about something I don't like. Macari is saying that if a buyer decides to return it and they do it within 72-hour window, a seller has 24 hours to inspect the item to determine if it's back in the same condition. Now, we were just on vacation. So I have a very real example of this. We had an item that somebody returned on eBay that was a new tags item, and we really want to be able to inspect that item to make sure the tag is still on that. If we only had 24 hours to do it, we would have missed the window. The item shipped on, I think it was Wednesday, arrived at our PO box on Saturday, and today is Sunday, and we have not made it there yet because we just arrived last night at 10 o'clock at night. So we would have already missed the boat. We would have been like, oh, well, I guess I hope that
I
I
I
hope the item
honestly
has a
don't know
tag.
why they don't give the seller the same 3-day window. I think it should be 72, 72. Like that seems fair if they're going to do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think there needs to be better ways. You're gonna give the buyer time to review an item and decide if they like it. Let the seller also review said item to make sure that it came back the way that it was supposed to. Now, I will say it is true that us sellers like to get too worried about things that don't happen. We get caught up in the 1% of sales where we've had this awful buyer or we had a return that was just ruined and all of that. And it sticks with us. So we get really reactionary about these things. And I think that's really important to remember. Hard to remember, but important. And I don't think it's that big of a deal. But if I were to give Macari some constructive criticism on this point, I would say it's fine. Returns for any reason is fine. Do you, and 72 hours is great. Thank you for the taking care of the shipping. But could you give me a little bit more time to inspect the item just to make sure so I feel
72 and
safe?
72. Just give us the same 3-day window to inspect it because a weekend is 3 days. Like Friday, if it comes back on Friday and we don't have a chance to get it, we've already missed the window.
Yeah. So that would be my constructive criticism. So those are all the changes. The community has been in an uproar. The community has been concerned. So I want to know, do you think at this point it is still worth selling on Macari?
I think I think it might have made it easier to make Macari a bargain basement floor price for your items, set it, forget it. And if the buyer wants to buy it at whatever price you list, fine. I don't think it has changed my view of being more active on Macari. I think it's just you put it up, whatever price it is, you move on, and it's going to be the best price that you're going to offer across all of your platforms. But that's price is the price. It's not negotiable. You're not going to accept offers. You're just going to kind of set it and forget it.
Yeah, and if you're already selling on Macari, I wouldn't say jump off because of this. I don't think it's enough of a change to make, you do that. But if you're not a Macari seller, I also don't think this is a reason to jump on. I don't think that it's going to attract new buyers. I don't think that it's going to attract that many new sellers. People have really mixed feelings about this, and we'll see over time how it does. But I don't. For me, it is not a pull. It just is. It's kind of a wash.
I have not seen anyone really talking about this on YouTube. We've done some research on this, and it hasn't really been mentioned. But there are no seller fees with a condition. The condition is you have to update your items.
Or list new ones.
Or list new items. So Macari is trying to prompt sellers to drop by that 10% to encourage people to then pay that 10% when they buy it. You can do that. You can do a bulk drop by 10% on all your items. There is a hack for this that we discovered. You can also set it to vacation.
Yes. So I did get an email about this and it said anything on or after March 27th will have the, no seller fees or if you update it. Now we went on vacation, as I noted. So all of my stuff went on vacation mode because it's what you do when you're on vacation. And I came back and I noticed that all my items no longer have seller fees because I've updated the item by putting them on vacation mode and then taking them off. I don't know why that's considered an update, but it is. So if
It's a
you
change of status. They're no longer unavailable.
they're no
They're
longer inactive, as
yeah.
Macari would say. So if you are like me and you're like, I don't think I would like to discount everything by 10%, thank you. All you got to do is put your items on vacation mode and then take it promptly off vacation mode. And there you go. Double check it. Make sure you look at it and just see, like, yes, it worked. Because again, I was away for a week. So I don't know if there's a time frame that's required. I doubt it. But just double check it. Make sure that it worked. But there you go. You've updated it and now you have 0%
Yeah.
seller fees. You're welcome.
Now this is unconfirmed, but my suspicion is that this is a way for Macari to double dip, and this is just
Ooh, this is a conspiracy
this is
theory.
tinfoil hat theory time,
Woo!
which it's somewhere in this room. But my expectation is that they're hoping people don't update their items so that they can take the 10% from the seller and the service fee from the buyer.
And we don't know this. If anyone wants to test it out and put it in the comments, I would enjoy it.
There is, in my experience with the levels of corporate greed, there is no way that they're not doing this.
Now, we do know for a fact that they were double dipping with the ACH fee until all of you started messaging them and letting them know, hey, excuse me, wait a minute. I have money in my account right now that I already paid my 10% seller fee on. And now you're going to take a $2 ACH fee too. I dislike, do not want, fix this. And they came out and said, you know what? Fine. You have until April 3rd. Remove your money. We won't take the ACH fee. After that, you're on your own. So we know they already tried the shady stuff and you guys caught on to it. So is it possible?
Case in point, that's a perfect yeah, there's no way they're not doing that. There's no way they're not trying to double dip any way that they can.
So I want you guys to test it. Let us know. Put it in the
Don't
comments.
don't test it with all of your items. Test it with 1 or 2 items, but it happened.
Yeah.
I
We
guarantee this has happened.
we wanna know. So test it. So as we said, we are not super big Macari fans. So if you want to know what we thought about Macari before all this craziness happened, check the link on the video right here.